Willie Crawford here, and I just want to have a talk to you this morning about life and fairness. So I'm sort of philosophizing or whatever this morning. Um, I grew up extremely poor, extreme poverty. My mother and father separated when I was probably about 4 years old, and my they had five boys, and my mother took the three youngest ones, and my father took the two oldest ones. My father continued on his military career for 20 plus years and remarried four times. And my mother, she went to the farm in North Carolina and it's a tobacco farm, and she decided that the jobs were better in the Northeast. And so she moved to Connecticut and got a job working for Pitney Bowes, where she worked all of her life. Um, and my grandmother raised me and taught me. But like I mentioned, we were in extreme poverty. We lived on welfare and often ran out of fuel oil or kerosene in the middle of winter. And my grandmother had to ask her brother or somebody for enough money to refill the oil tank, because it was freezing cold there in North Carolina in January, February. And as I did quite well in high school, and my guidance counselor noticed me and pointed me towards college. The only problem was we had no money for college, and so I scraped together some paperwork and managed to get into college. And from there, I worked as many as three part-time jobs to work my way through college. But in the process, I also noticed ROTC, where they give you a stipend. I didn't notice that until the end of my sophomore year. And so I joined the first Army ROTC, where I learned that in combat, the life expectancy of a helicopter pilot was about 30 minutes. And so I then checked out Air Force ROTC and discovered that I was quite good at playing the game. At the beginning of my junior year, I went to a summer camp, or before my junior year, I went to a summer camp. And after coming back from summer camp, I excelled at ROTC. In fact, I made the rank of cadet colonel, which is the highest rank in ROTC. And I was offered the job of being the detachment commander, the highest ranking student in ROTC. Thing was, I had switched majors from biology slash pre-medicine. I dreamed of being a doctor to business and economics. I found I understood economic principles without even really trying, but the chemistry got the best of me because I wasn't groomed for college. I didn't take any foreign language, didn't take statistics or physics or chemistry, any of those college prep courses. And so, in fact, I was projected not to succeed in college. It was a fairly high washout rate at NC State University at the time, but people with my economic background, yet I excel in ROTC and in college, and made the dean's list numerous times. But at the when I went to ROTC summer camp, our instructors were their job was actually to get us caught up with the ROTC students who were in the 4 year program, and I was in a 2 year program. So our training was more mental than physical. We did have to qualify on certain things, but there was one major I remember in particular who stood up in front of this group of young uh, students, and he said, as you go through your military career, I want you to remember one thing, and that is that life ain't necessarily fair. And this major, his background was that he had been passed over for promotion to lieutenant colonel, and he was telling us that you can dream of being a general if you want to, but that's not the reality for 99% of us, or 99.9% of us. And so he prepared us for that eventuality. And I experienced that. I did it to myself, though. Went into the active duty military as a C-130 navigator and developed a drinking problem that got me in trouble numerous times. So I don't blame anyone but myself. Uh, but I advanced quickly to the rank of a major, and I had a top secret compartmentalized clearance. And so all my entire life, I did things that I said talk about. And I learned about the world as I traveled the world, often flying in civilian clothing and on a first name basis with the rest of my crew members. And going places that most people will never imagine going. So I got to observe life, and I learned that life isn't necessarily fair. I went places where people could be shot for your neighbors reporting on you if you just thought a certain way. It was all about thought control and a lot of other things. So I just want to remind you that when you look at life today, remember that life is not only not necessarily fair, it's not required to be. So, you know, acknowledge that life is what life is, and I think you'll be much happier. And happiness is a choice. And I don't know where I'm going with this, except I do want to invite you to subscribe to my channel and look around. And there's lots of information on this site that's designed to help you, to educate you, to make you a better business owner. And that's what my site is for, is help people, teaching people my YouTube channel. And I'm on 60 other podcasting platforms. I go out through a platform at rss.com, and I'll try to remember to give you a link for that. Uh, but rss.com lets me broadcast over 60 plus channels, and most of those are audio only channels. So when people are listening to my podcast, a lot of them are out jogging or riding their bicycles or in their cars. And so when I do most podcasts, I have to remember to spell out things so that if they're so inspired, they can, when they get back home, check those things out. Uh, I'm rambling, but I do want to invite you to join my uh, podcast. And my podcast is at Willie Crawford. I'm sorry, my podcast is at youtube.com/the modern Midas. If you remember, Midas, King Midas had a magic touch, and everything he touched turned into gold. I have found in life that a lot of things I touch do turn into gold, and I'll share some of those things with you later. But now I just want to invite you to join my channel and look around, and I'll link to a few resources here in the description to the broadcast. Thanks for listening. I'm rambling and should go get another cup of coffee.